Hello, my Teaserking family. Sorry, Luke, and sorry, Pat. Football gets pretty exciting, so keep in mind that. I'll try to do it a little earlier. It's kind of a later day today. Had to run to the bank, got in a phone conversation. I'm getting this deep tissue massage tomorrow. So she called to give me directions, Snoo, and she started talking. So we are talking for a while, and then I went to swim. And I stopped at the grocery store for a little minor stuff. Anyway, how's everybody? Hope you're well. So, my football takes a lot more time now because um, I've got to learn all the teams. But this is how I learn economics, by asking questions. Why is gold $2,000 an ounce? Why is it not 3,000 an ounce? Oh, it's because of COMEX. Oh, so you start learning all this, and one thing leads to another. Why doesn't it go up? And oh, it's because it's price fixed by J.P. Morgan. Why is it price fixed? Oh, because they have the monopoly on printing money in the U.S. and they don't want to give that up. And if everybody's into gold, nobody will buy the dollar, and there goes the monopoly. Oh, what the fuck? Why is there a monopoly on it? So you try to understand everything, and I'm very good at questioning things and then digging for the answers, which is going to take us to brics. But let's look at the gold price. Gold price at 549 is 24.92. So we got hit a little, but I'm very comfortable at 24.92. I think tomorrow we'll see a big day. Yesterday I was surprised it didn't go up with the U.S. not doing it, but nobody really took advantage of that. They were kind of waiting for him, which leads you to believe how much the COMEX is influenced by the U.S., by J.P. Morgan, and 24.92. So we're okay there. It touched 24.78, but immediately goes back up. So we should get back at 2,500. Silver is sitting at 28.05. Let's see what happened to silver. Oh, look, the derivative at 9.45. The same one hitting silver. How about, what's the odds on that? Taking it from 28.50 down to 27.74. I mean, this is just totally bullshit price fixing. It's highly illegal. And yet, because the banks are in charge of the government, they let it happen. So 24.92, okay, we can live with. 28.05 silver, it's the deal of the century. It's a $500 ounce that you can get for $28. Because I think that dimensionally, and I'm 5 steps ahead, I know that's a bullshit price, and I know what the real price is. Most people looking at it go, oh, I don't want to buy silver. It's only 28.05. Understood. If I thought the price was 28.05, the real price, I wouldn't. What am I going to buy it for? Which leads you to this, because this is going to zero. Because as we learn in Austrian economics, if you keep printing this and printing it, the value goes to zero. They call it purchasing power, or what you can buy at the store. So what they're saying is, as you're printing it and as this is becoming worthless, you go to the store, tuna is now $5 for a can. It used to be 59 cents for. And that's the problem. Hey, Pat. Oh, I don't think it'll go to 26. Where are you getting that from, Pat? Are you just pulling that out of thin air or what? Silver will not get to 26. It'll go back up tomorrow. My guess is gold and silver will have an update tomorrow heading into brics. Well, I understand that's what it is, but it's not going to 26. And a lot of it is not only that, it's to sell to China and India and Saudi Arabia so they can make their solar panels. It costs them less to do it. So that's why they keep the price down so they can afford to make cheap solar panels. If it's 500 an ounce, I don't know how many ounces are in a solar panel. I do know you need silver for it. You can't substitute the silver. That's why they keep the price down. And yeah, they want you in the dollar, but you can't ignore gold at 2,500 and say, oh yeah, well, gold's going up, but not silver. So people that don't know are losing their assets or not investing in silver, and they're going to miss the big boat ride coming up, the big elevator. It's like the Titanic. Well, yeah, we know we're sinking, and we could go into the lifeboat, but why don't we just sink? Why should we get into a lifeboat? And that's what silver is, a lifeboat. Because the dollar goes out, you don't care what lifeboat you're in, gold or silver. Gold might be going up now because the central banks are buying it, forcing the price going higher because everybody who joins BRICS needs gold to get the gold back currency. But you don't need silver yet. Now, the demand's still strong. Eventually, it just blows up. COMEX will keep it down, but they won't use COMEX. They'll just use the Shanghai Gold Exchange, and they'll say, we don't care what they're doing, COMEX. Silver's, based on demand, is now $1,000 an ounce. One ounce per panel for that. Gold will not go to 24.50. Next leg up will be wild. Where do you come up with these figures? Where do you get silver 26 and gold 24.50? What are you basing this on? Just pulling the numbers out of the thin. It will not go to 24.50. If it does, it won't stay long. They tried to get it to 24.50 today. They got it to 24.78, and it's right back to 24.92. They're buying the gold. They need it. And there's not a lot of gold left for COMEX to keep shorting it. The only way these go down if they short them with derivatives. So keep that in mind. It's not just they want it to go to 24.50. There's too many buyers at 2,500 that they want it to go up. They want to buy it. So if they buy it, the price can't go down because there's bidders when they do the shorts. So like when Eddie Murphy on Trading Places he wasn't even trying to get the gold orange juice price down, but when he did, if there was no buyer, if there was nobody selling, it would have stayed at 142. But he was buying then, and there was all the sellers realizing they had bought at 102. So all the people in the beginning of the trade buying at 102, pushing it up to 142. Then they realize there's no problem with the coin. Now they are stuck and they got to sell it. Okay, but that's not what's happening in gold. Nobody's stuck. Nobody's selling gold. It's not going to go down. $26, very strong support for silver. It's all just a game. I know. Yeah, I don't go. Silver will not go to 26. Gold will not go to 24. Gold's had its chance to pull back. It hasn't. And it's too close to. There's a conference in St. Petersburg, which I should go to just to meet Daria in September, and then BRICS announces gold back currency in October. Who the hell is selling gold? Well, nobody's selling it, but who the hell is playing derivatives, shorting this with this about to happen? Only a freaking idiot would do that. which JP Morgan is. So there's no way gold's going to see 20. Again, if it sees 24.50, it's for 5 seconds. It'll be 25.50 before 24.50. And then silver will be, once it breaks 35, we'll go to 50, and then we'll see $100 silver, which is what we're all waiting for. And we know it's price fixed, but they're not even using COMEX to buy the silver. They're going right to the mine. So COMEX can play their derivatives, which is a fantasy. It's not a real game. And therefore, what it says on COMEX is not what it's going to say on all these other things. So keep that in mind. Oh, it's a paper game. That's why we don't care what the COMEX says, because we know it's not even reality of what the real price, the physical price is. Like I said, if they on my Mahomes card and COMEX, this would be $2 because they bid it down to $2. But the physical card, we know it's worth like $1,500 or so. Let's say $1,500. Mahomes 50 count, got to be worth that. PSA 10, I'm talking. So that's where I'm at with it. BRICS gold-backed currency announcement will be October 22nd in Kazan, Russia. From what I hear, there'll be 12 new members, which will push it to 22. Another 69 want to join, or they'll get it up to 69 countries want to join. And eventually 159 countries want to be in BRICS because they want to use the gold-backed currency. Because the U.S. has threatened force. If you use it, will kill you. So everybody's like, okay. And what they're waiting for, China and Russia, is for the U.S. to collapse. And then they'll come out with gold. That's why China, even though their economy is collapsed and they don't have anything, the whole economy is gone. China. So everybody's leaving. All the stores are closing. People can't find food. People can't get their money out of the banks. It's going to sound familiar here when that happens. It's funny. I was in the bank today. I had to deposit a little money for Jenna. And I'm thinking, well, if they close the branch, how do I give her money? I guess on the ATM, I can give her a couple $100 into my account. But what do you do if you have money and the branches are closed? Because the branches can't afford. They're all these loans are collapsing, so the branches are all losing money. All these banks. So what they're going to do is close the branches because they made a building, right? It cost them money to pay the rent of these bricks buildings and the security, the safety deposit box and everything else. So they're thinking, well, let's close the branches and at least save the rent, although that seems kind of weird, but that's probably like this much out of that much, right? But so then it's going to be, how do we go into the branch to take money or give money? I mean, I can't. So if my mom gives me a trust, let's say it ends in October and I get $25,000. I have no idea. I'm just throwing out a number. How do I get the money? My branch is closed. What do I go to the ATM every day and get $800 out? That's what I worry about is getting a chunk out or putting a chunk in. All right, I'm going to sell a couple ounces of gold. I want to put 10 grand in because I need it for the trip or off to meet Daria or Jenna, and I need it for this, that, and the other. How do I give them the money? How do I give the money? How do I cash in my gold? I get a check. How do I get that? How do I get the money out? So I'm at the bank today and she says something like, oh, you're in a money market. And it's a minimum requirement of 25,000. I said, I ain't giving you 25 cents. What are you talking about? I've been in this account forever. She says, well, that's the minimum balance. I says, I've had like $100 in my money market savings account for the last 2 years. What are you talking about? I don't keep any money in the bank. You think I'm nuts? And so the girl said, oh no, he's passing up the interest. I go, what interest? Getting interest on this is pointless. Oh, I can get 5% on toilet paper. What's that going to do for me? But it's still in toilet paper. So 5% of this is still zero. So don't get scammed into thinking, oh, I'm getting 9% of my money or 12% of my money. That's not going to, what is that? That's nothing. Because you're still in money. That's still worthless. So don't fall for that shit. You don't want to be looking at that stock market's ready to crash anytime now. So that's the other part. It's so funny how stupid people are because they'll see the stock market crashing, or they'll see it going well, and they'll go, "Oh, okay, the economy's fine, the stock market's up." Well, it's misleading because they're keeping it up, just like Comex. They're keeping gold down on bullshit paper, and they're keeping the stock market up on bullshit paper. They're printing money and putting it into the market. So look, it's 41,000. Oh, really? I believe that. See, this is the point. We understand it's bullshit. Most people don't. That's why we survive when everybody else dies, because we understand what the hell is going on. And that's the critical point here. That's what I'm teaching. Are you 100% sure there will be a brics announcement on gold? Again, you just asked me this, didn't you? You asked me, am I 98% sure? All right, I'll take you to Mark McGuire. What are you worried about? Let's go to Mark McGuire.
For a while now, I've encouraged Americans to protect their savings with physical gold.
The unbacked petrodollar will have as soon as spot gold had tripped off those buy stops at 2,500 that we just looked at a minute ago. So spot silver closed above 29 spot, and it's now closed above 29 spot for 3 sessions, but fixed twice above it. Also, given that the SGE is importing record volumes of silver, the moment 2,500 spot gold was overcome, the SHFE traders began to also pull the buy trigger into deeply oversold COMEX and spot silver. And that's so spot silver for delivery and upcoming direct COMEX loadouts. So in summary, Shane, under the short-term chart chatter, as we call it, we've been witnessing a Western paper market managed retreat as physical gold prices are increasingly being settled outside the CME LBMA's reach. And in fact, to sum up what we've previously outlined, this widening chasm between the Fed and the BIS is now becoming really hard to ignore because, as I say, on the other side of the globe, every other central bank is now long. Now, we looked at the evolution of this pivotal divergence in great detail, as I say, over the last 18 months, actually. But essentially, the BIS recognized, of course, that Glasgow's beta-tested upcoming BRICS gold-backed currency to be launched in October was impossible to ignore and has...
Well, what do you think of that? It will be launched in October. I don't know how else to make it clear. I don't know what you're worried about. They're gonna launch it October 22nd, is what he's saying, and he says it 5 times on his video. So I'm basing Mark McGuire's word, because I don't have any contact in Russia except for Daria, saying it'll be launched October 22nd. He says it many times. I'm not worried. They could also postpone the announcement to next year. No, they want to announce it just before the election. That's the point of launch of saying it in October, and they want it in Russia. Russia has to get a gold back system. BRICS wants to go on gold. China doesn't want to go gold back on their own because they don't want to be responsible for the dollar going out. In other words, as soon as they announce gold back system, there goes the dollar. So China doesn't want to be responsible. Russia could give a shit. Putin's tired of the games that they're playing with the war. So he's like, no, we're going to announce it October 22nd. I'm expecting this. We're going on a gold back currency. So I'm expecting once we hit October, that gold to really shoot. But again, that's still derivative gold. The physical will definitely shoot up. So I'm looking to get my last couple of ounces before I can't afford it at 10,000 an ounce. But from what I can tell, it's October 22nd. Gold back currency is announced, and that's he says it often. I don't think it was supposed to be April. Something happened in April, and now it's delayed till October. But from what I can tell, I don't see. I don't think Mark McGuire is going to wrong again because he was already wrong in April. But he says he's talking to the Russians, Sergei Glassiev or whatever, and he's saying, no, we're going to do it October. It's on the agenda. They're going to do it. And believe me, the more bullshit that the U.S. plays with this whole war with Ukraine and Russia and this whole China thing, the quicker they want to end it already and say, okay, no more. I saw that Poland and I think Norway is like, we're not giving any more weapons. We're out of this. Hungary's out of it. So NATO, Turkey's out of it. None of them want to keep giving weapons. It's pointless. The U.S. really has no more weapons to give them. We're out of weapons. We've given them, but it takes so long to replenish the weapons that they don't have it. So this war is over. What they're doing, I don't know. This whole thing where they tried to get the power plant in Kursk was a disaster. That led to Russia getting pissed off and going after some nuclear power plants in the Ukraine. So Jenna now doesn't have power for half the time. Anyway, as far as I can see, October 22nd will be during that week. We're rolling out a gold back currency for BRICS, and that's my source. So yeah, I think for sure. I mean, the U.S. dollar's out. I mean, it's worthless right now, so there's nothing they can do. You're not worried, but that's why you're asking me about the 100% sure. Are you 100% sure? But I'm not worried about it. But are you 100% sure? They could also postpone. No, they're not going to postpone. Yes, you are right. The U.S. is apparently shipping long-range missiles to Ukraine to strike Russian targets. Madness for sure. Daria's a little worried. See, Jenna's been in the Ukraine, so she's not really getting bombed. It's not like World War II where they're just rolling through and bombing Berlin and bombing, Hamburg and all these cities. This is more of they're kind of bombing the four cities, Crimea and Odessa and Donetsk and Kharkov. And that's really the focus are those four cities. And then, but Ukraine doesn't hit Russia, right? This curse thing is the first time. So Daria's getting scared, like, oh my God, they're shooting at us now. Like, wait, this is the war in the Ukraine. We shoot at them. They don't shoot back. And we'll see what happens. It's like and rather than admit they're wrong, they almost want nuclear war and just blame the Russians on it, or they're going to blame the Russians on the inflation. They've got themselves painted in a corner where the currency is worthless, and they probably don't have a plan of a backup currency, if you can believe that. I think that's where Trump will come in. If he gets elected, he'll have a gold back currency if there is gold, according to Luke, or they'll just be they're not ready to have a new currency. And that's where people are talking about the barter, where we'll use old silver coins to go to the grocery store, and the problem with that is you don't know the value of them. You don't know the value of the silver, and you don't know the value of the product. So how are you going to barter for eggs and milk when you don't know what they cost in silver, and you don't know what your silver's worth? So that's the problem. You got to know what the milk and eggs are worth in silver to barter. So the barter's out the window. That's just some stupid thing. I mean, I've heard some ridiculous things by some of these idiots, but that's even a stupider one. Anyway, so that's Trump is only mentioning cryptos now with his son. He is the crypto president. Well, I don't think he can mention gold. I don't think George Soros would like it. He'd probably get killed. Cryptos, what is crypto? It's a joke. What are we all going to have Bitcoin, of which we don't know what it is, can't get, we can't hold it in our hands. So it's not accepted. It's not government backed. So what's Trump going to say? Okay, we're going to now government back crypto. So in other words, we're getting out of this, which is worthless, for crypto, which is worthless. Because crypto's value is in dollars. So if the dollar collapses, what's the value of crypto? Nothing. Unless it can be backed by gold. And then what's the value of gold? Well, we don't know because COMEX has it held hostage. So I don't know. I'm never buying Bitcoin or crypto. So whatever. That's why we got gold and silver, because we don't need to mess around with that shit. And my advice is, if we gets to that, just move to Russia, I think, is a safer venue. Russia, they won't allow gold out, but we will bring it in and then figure out, where do we sell it? Do we sell it in Russia? Do we go to Switzerland? Where do I sell it here? But then what do I get for it? So if I'm going to Russia and I sell 2 ounces of gold, and they give me, let's say gold's 10,000 an ounce, so they give me 20,000 of what? Oh, I get this paper shit that's worthless, that won't work in Russia thanks to the sanctions. So I really don't want to sell gold here, which means I got to sell it in Switzerland, or I got to sell it in Russia or Germany or somewhere where they'll take it. But then what am I going to get? Germany, I don't want to get the euro, and Switzerland, I don't want the Swiss francs, because all that's worth shit. I need a gold-backed BRICS currency to trade my gold for. So it's probably Russia, but I got to figure out, what to do with it. I mean, how do I sell it there? If I even need to sell it, which we'll see. Well, he never mentions gold, but he's going to have to. So why is Trump such a big fan of cryptos? And he also wants to make USA the leader in cryptos. Trump's an idiot. I mean, I can't answer that. I assume because he's in bed with Larry Fink, who's got that ETF, and I have no idea. Trump is not a businessman. He's not a financial guy. So he just, his dad left him some buildings in Manhattan, so he managed to keep those going. But what are cryptos aren't worthless, and they're priced in dollars. So I don't know what Trump's doing. Maybe he knows the crypto queen, where she is, and she's scamming all the people with this new one coin that isn't even real. I wouldn't trust crypto as far as I could throw them. So I like holding things in my hand. Okay, I got it. I got gold in my hand. I got silver in my hand. I don't want crypto. I don't even know how to use it, how to get it. How does it go up and down in price? And then, okay, and if Larry Fink's controlling these on COMEX, then they're really fucked, because he's going to play around. So like I said, I don't know. I don't listen to Trump. I don't really try. He looks like an idiot when he's doing this, and he's getting shot. I thought it was a put on, because in the middle, he's getting shot at, and the guy hits his ear, and I go, that's a good shot. I saw it in a movie, and a few dollars more where Lee Van Cleet shoots Clint Eastwood in the air. So the bad guy thinks he was in the battle. And I said, that's what I thought it looked like, because he didn't even pay attention to it. He did that, and then he went on to fight. And then the Secret Service, how could they not see this guy over there? It's such a total setup, this whole assassination attempt put on by George Soros, no doubt. So, yeah, it's all bullshit. I understand. Yeah, I think like you, if I can't touch it, it doesn't exist. It's just, what is it? It's what happens if the Chinese or the Russians take out your computer or your cell phone? Now, how do you get to your cryptocurrency? But I can easily put my gold in the silver counter, in the silver round holder, and have that, and you can't fuck with me. And you don't even know I got it. That's the beauty of gold. But gold is the real money, the real value. So, yeah, why they're not talking about it is they probably don't want anybody to get into it. And people with it, they probably don't want to get out or to know about it or anything like that. But that's where we're at. We've got idiots. This Harris woman is a moron. She wants price controls and well, I don't even know if she wants it. She's just saying what people want to hear. Well, we'll close the border. She went through all the list where she's got problems. Just, we'll close the border. We'll do that. We'll go out and buy gold. So everybody, it's like, I don't know what to say, but look what everybody's having a problem with. She's a moron, but she won't call the plays anyway. It's like Biden. Biden didn't call anything. George Soros is running the U.S., and therefore he'd still run the U.S. He put Harris in charge of San Francisco and California. So that's all she is. So I'm not sure what to think of that, but that's what's happening. So it makes for a crazy election. But that's why BRICS wants to do it at the end of October. The election is November 5th. And it's just going to be, a nightmare because the dollar is going to collapse. Who are you going to vote for? Two idiots, Larry or Mo. And that's really the problem. So the best thing you can do is sell your gold for BRICS gold-backed currency and just wait for it. We have nothing. We have no gold here. If we did, I would say we would have raised the price of it to pay for the debt. Makes sense, but that's not what's happening. So, anyway, so just be careful. Just be prudent. Be smart. Nobody can fuck you with gold and silver, so you're fine there. Just hide it. You don't tell anybody. We'll see what happens. It's going to get ugly here because as people don't have food to eat, then what do they do? If there's no food at the grocery store, people are going to get ugly fast. If they don't have money to buy the groceries, then they're going to go in and steal it. And they're just going to go in and grab whatever and run out without it. So again, that's really the problem with it is you keep gold. See, you've got to get out of this. That's the whole point. You got to get off the Titanic. You get off of this. Now, the problem is in America, you got 360 million people, and about me, you, and you're in Singapore, but maybe there's 100 of us that understand that. So all these people are holding this, like Luke's friend, whose 401k is $4 billion. Imagine what that guy's going to do when he goes to zero. I mean, he'll be insane. And then, we're going to say, well, if you would have listened to us, you could have bought $4 million worth of gold and you never have to work another day in your life. But you were smarter than we were and you kept your money in stocks. Now that the market's collapsed, you're fucked. But you're smarter than we are. So I mean, this is the problem. Most people don't even see it. They don't see the dollar going out. So therefore, what are they going to do? And how do you can't tell somebody to buy gold if they don't want to buy gold and they don't want to listen. This is the problem. And it's a shame, but there's nothing you can do about it. You can say, hey, the sky's going to fall like Chicken Little. The sky's falling, but nobody, no, it's still up there until it falls. And then what are you going to do with that? So it's the belief that the gold's going up and the dollar's going out. Do they believe the dollar's going out? No. Well, why could it? We've been the reserve currency. We got the petrodollar, and we're the strongest country in the world. Nothing can happen to us. That's the mentality here. And they've never seen it because we've been like this since 71. So in 50 years, nobody's ever seen the dollar collapse. And it never has. So it's really hard to tell that to people, and they understand it and listen. That's the problem. So again, inflation is you printed the money and it's worthless. Nobody understands that concept. In fact, they even tell you it's prices, not money printing. These are people that have no idea, and that's what they do. Oh, no, the prices aren't going up anymore. Inflation's over. No, it's not about prices. It's the money has no value. So it's totally apples and oranges. If you printed the money so high that it has no value, what's it got to do with prices? Well, prices should go up. The reason, like in Venezuela, that the grocery stores are empty is because of the price controls. You can't control it with price. In other words, if it cost me $10 to make a volleyball, and I'm selling them for $20, this is great. The more volleyballs I sell, I make $10 a volleyball. Until you price fix it and say you can only sell it for $9. And you go, but it cost me 10. I can't make it for 9, so I'm gonna close up because I can't. That's why the shelves are empty, because these people cannot make the product cheap enough to beat the price, because it's not a free market price. So in the free market, I need $20, but in the government price fixing, it's 9. Where did you get the 9 from? It cost me 10 to make it. I can't sell it for 9. So I go out of business, and then there's no volleyballs on the shelf, or bananas, or tuna fish, or whatever you want to call it. There isn't any out there to get that price. So now what do I do? And basically you're fucked. So that's why you see the empty shelves at the grocery store. That's the problem. So you got to let the market work. The market is us. It's a free market. In fact, that keep the government out of it and let the laissez-faire leave me alone. That's what it means. Just me and you. You want to buy my economics class? $25. Okay, fine. We don't need the government involved. You give me $25, you get the economics class. I teach it. You're either happy or you're not. If you're happy, we do another class. And that's it. But if you price fix me and say, well, you can only charge $10 for the class, I'm going to say, I'm not, it's not worth my time for $10. So that's the real point there. It's got to be worth your time. And anyway, that's what's going on. So that's economics, which nobody understands. It's free market. It's what the market will bear. You set the prices at what people will buy it for. It's very simple. I got barbecue ribs, and people will pay $28 for it. But if I raise it to $45, nobody will buy it. So how can I make it? How can I sell it for that price? Well, I need to, because my costs went up. Well, yeah, but if you sell it for $45, even though your costs went up, you'll be out of business because you won't get a buyer. So the key point about business is to know your market. What will they buy the ribs for? The car, the shirt, the glasses, the cell phone. What is the price that the public are willing to pay for it? And then it becomes, well, what's it going for in the market? Well, so you see like cell phones, like mine's just an Android $100 phone at Walmart. So I know I can sell it. There's a market for $100. I see this. So therefore I need to, that's what I need to sell it for. And if my costs go up and it goes up to here and the market's here, I can't sell it because people don't want to pay that much for it. So I got to keep where the price is what the public wants to buy it for. That's how the free market works. It's the best way to do it because the government cannot possibly know what we want. That's the first and foremost. So therefore, that's what you're looking at. And this is the whole point of free market. That's why the government can never get involved. They just don't understand it, or they understand it and don't want. Most of them are attorneys. They have no fucking clue about economics or free market or any of it. That's why government fails, is because you don't have business people involved. And I don't call Trump a business person. So this is the problem, is the president doesn't know what he's doing. It's like a football coach. Oh yeah. Well, I never coached football before. Oh, perfect. You'll be our football coach. George Soros wants you to be the football coach. You go out and the team sucks because you don't know what you're doing. And this is the problem. And that's what we have in the government. The market is fucked because they're all attorneys. They don't understand what they're doing. They don't understand anything. So it becomes, wait, why are you running it? So I think the simple thing is there should be a special agency running the market, running economics, there should not even be a Fed. There should be competition in everything we can have because competition controls itself. That's why you need competition. That's the beauty of competition. That's what these other countries don't have. When they have communism or socialism, there's just one guy running the market. So we're going to run the gas, then oil. We'll have the Putin oil company. No competition. He sets the price, and if you don't like it, go to Siberia. And that's why these countries fail. But he's, I think, smart enough to have competition, and his country doesn't. Is actually booming at this time, even with the sanctions. Pat, I went to a bullion store the other day. It was completely empty at 6 p.m. Lots and lots of people really don't get it. So when you say empty, you're meaning empty that there was no customers, not that there was no inventory, I assume. Well, why would people get it? I mean, I had a master's in it, so I get it. I don't know where you got your background that you understood it, but most people don't get it. And they don't believe, again, they listen too much to, 9/11 was a gold robbery. It had nothing to do. It was not a terrorist attack. It was a gold robbery. They wanted the gold at the central bank. They don't believe this can go out. They don't even understand how it can go out. Well, we've printed a lot of money. What do you mean it's worthless? When they see all the prices go up at the grocery store, what do they think? Well, it's the producers. It's Hunt's ketchup. It's Oreos. It's Fruit Loops, Lucky Charms. They're the ones raising their prices. But it's not them. It's the dollar losing value. So in other words, I got to get so much money for the box. I have to raise my price to get back to that level of where I was at. That's why I need to raise the price, because the dollar's not worth anything. But how many people understand that concept? It's a simple concept, but when the prices go up on Coca-Cola and Hershey's and Chips Ahoy, They all think the company's doing it. They have no idea that it's the dollar losing its value, creating them to charge more, right? They don't have a clue. And the companies can only charge us what we'll bear. So they can make Fruit Loops $20 a box if they want, but nobody will buy it. We'll go to another thing, or we won't buy cereal or whatever. We'll just say thank you, no. And that is the point. So once that happens, then how do you count inflation? You can't count it with cost increases. It can only be measured in money printing. And we know they print a lot. And they print $1 trillion every 100 days for the interest on the debt. And that's what's going to start scaring the foreigners, the Chinese, the English, the French, the German, the Japanese, to get out of the dollar. But where are their dollars? In our banks and in the stock market, and some in houses. So they're going to just dump. And that's why the market's going to crash. And the fact that the companies won't be making profits, the profits are going to die, because as people aren't working, they have less money and everything costs more. So they don't get more money. You still get whatever. If you're making 50,000, you're still making 50,000. But what it used to buy was 30,000 worth of goods is now 45. So the stocks have to collapse, because I don't have the extra money to buy a tennis racket, a golf club. So all those companies, the market, the stocks will start dropping, which panic will set in. Oh shit, here's the panic. Notice when we dropped 1,000 points, what happened? We went and printed money and made it look like it was nothing. Nobody challenged why did it drop 1,000 except for us. Well, we know why, because what happened in China. No customers. Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, I mean, it's hard to, come up with $2,600 to buy an ounce of gold a lot. But I mean, I haven't been in a couple of weeks. I wanted to go Friday. I'll probably go tomorrow, and I really just want a quarter ounce. I can't afford right now. I guess I could, but with all these vacations coming up, and I need cash, so I'm going to keep my cash. But I suppose I could cash in my cash for gold, and then when I needed it, just sell an ounce of gold. But I'm just going to kind of balance it. But yeah, I've done most of my buying already. But it's just nice to add somebody for my gold family. I tell that to Darius. Oh, I got a new child for our gold family. So basically, people are really stupid to not understand that over issuance in anything makes it less valuable. I don't know that they're stupid. Where are they learning it from? Does any school teach Austrian economics? Just my master's program, and they don't do it anymore. There's a few colleges that will, most won't, but the people are already brainwashed. So people 50, 60 years old who went to school and lived their life and worked at GM and Ford, they have no idea what's going on, and they know everything. Like Luke's friend, he knows Captain Kirk, he knows everything. So you're not going to be able to tell him that the dollar's worthless and to buy gold and the dollar's going to zero. He won't listen to it. He's convinced the dollar's not going anywhere. Why would it go to zero and everything else? That's the problem. It's not that they're ignorant. They haven't learned it. And they haven't been in a position to see it go down since 1971. So for 50 years, it's been fine. We haven't had a gold standard. Why will it go now? That's what I hear when I say gold's going to go up. Well, why now, Howard? Why is gold going up now? And my answer is brics. With the gold-backed currency, we'll blow it up. That's my answer. It's a variable that's never been introduced before. There's never been a brics. There's never been competition for the dollar. Here we have gold-backed currency competing against the dollar. Guess what? The gold wins 100 times out of 100. But nobody knows that, and this is the sad part. They're all going to go broke. It's going to be mass chaos, but nobody understands it. It's not they're not stupid. I mean, these are lawyers and doctors. They just don't have a clue. Uh, but when you try to tell them, they're not open to it. They don't want to hear it. And that's really the sad part. You try to say, hey, you know, it's like saying you're smoking a cigarette and you need to light it. And you tell them, hey, light your cigarette. And who are you? I don't want to listen to you. But you need to light your cigarette. Especially in the U.S., it's a reflex. People think they know everything and think, who are you to tell me? I get that a lot. Well, who are you? Why should I listen to you? Who are you? And I just laugh and go, yeah, you're right. Don't listen to me. Like I said, this guy I was riding the bike with, and I told him about it, and then he starts to be a joker, and he goes, well, I'll see you in the soup kitchens when when the stock market collapses. And he's laughing, and I go, no, I won't be there. I'm in gold. I'm out of the stock market. With the straight face, that's serious. And then he, I think, got the message going, oh shit, he's in gold, not in the stocks. And he's smart. I can tell he's smart. See, people look at me, they know I'm smart. But I come across very stoic, very like, you're an idiot. You're gonna go broke. I'm trying to help you. You don't want my help. Go fuck yourself. I mean, that's all I can do. So they're not stupid, but they're not open-minded. They don't want to learn. There is no excuse for anyone getting one silver coin. For anyone not getting one silver coin, I think. Yeah, but common sense is infinitely missing a lot of lightly educated fools. It's common sense to me and you to go, well, I'll buy 10 more ounces of silver because it's $30 an ounce. But the problem is people don't see the ounce of silver going up in value. Silver's $30, went down to 27 something today. I'm not going to buy that. It doesn't go up because their mentality is, well, I can buy Amazon and then watch it go from 100 to 120. See, stocks move, but the way JP Morgan's controlling the COMEX, the silver doesn't move. So they don't think it has a value. So a lot of it is because they don't know COMEX is price fixed and it's paper, not physical. Since they don't understand that, why would I buy silver? It doesn't move. We have the same thing in class here, Luke. Well, when's it going to go up? When's it going to go up? And you're like, we can't, I don't know what breaks the dam, right? The dam's about to break. All the water is going to come down. I don't know what triggers it at what point the dam finally breaks, but we know the dam's going to break. And so all we can do is just buy it at this ridiculously cheap price and just hold it and, just go from there. And that's why I say buy quarter ounces of gold for $700. We know it's going to 20,000 an ounce. Just wait for it. And the longer it stays here, we can buy it, the longer we'll buy it for. Right? I mean, that's how you got to look at gold and silver. It's waiting. So we might as well buy it now, waiting before it moves 10,000 an ounce. So the more I can buy at 2,500, or in my case, 700 for the quarter ounce, the more I can buy, the better off I am. I don't worry. Why isn't it going up? It did. I bought some at 1,700 a couple years ago. It's 2,500. It's gone up $800 in a few years. That's a lot for a price fixed. They're trying to keep the price down, and it's at 20, and it's gone up 800. Imagine if they didn't. Imagine when it breaks, what's going to happen. And that's all we can do. So all we can do is say, we know what's going to happen. We know gold, 10,000 an ounce. I'm going to buy as much as I can. Silver will be $2,000. I'm going to buy as much as I can. And all I can do is wait until it goes up. That's all I can do. And that's all you should be thinking is, I got more. But people are anxious to buy for the price to go up. When's it going up? Like, it's sort of like a football game. It's the first quarter. When are we going to score 3 touchdowns? When is it going to happen? And all I can say is it's going to happen, but we don't know the exact time. Then there's an interception, we get a touchdown. Then a kick return, we get a touchdown. We don't know when that's going to happen, but we know it will. Look at Ohio State. They came in. It was 17-3 at the half. I've got over 42. I go, there's no way. That's a loser. And next thing I knew, it was boom, boom, 3 plays touchdown, 2 plays touchdown, a fumble return, an interception, and all of a sudden I won. Now, I thought I was going to win. That's why I made the bet. But I don't know when the explosion is going to happen. And it happened late third quarter, early fourth quarter. Boom, boom, boom. They scored 28 points. But you don't know. You know it's going to do it, but you don't know when. And you're just waiting for that. And that's the same thing with silver. You don't know when it's going to go to $1,000 an ounce, but you know it will. And gold, you don't know when it's going to 10, 20,000 an ounce, but you know it's going to go up. We know this $3,000 price from Mark McGuire, and then it's what will it when BRICS says gold-backed currency, and they're going to set the price. What's that price going to be? We don't know. It could be 10,000 an ounce. More than likely 5 to 7,500 in that price range. But they're gonna say that, and then everybody here will finally wake up going, "Oh, we're fucked. We just got fucked." But if you'd listen, you wouldn't get fucked. See, we're not going to get fucked. We're waiting for it to happen. We know it's going to happen. We're waiting for it to happen. It's not if or when or COMEX this and paper gold that and paper silver that, because they're the ones fucking the dollar up by printing it. So when you MMT people say, well, we can just keep printing and keep printing and keep printing, nothing will happen, you're out of your mind. You have no idea what you just said. Plenty can happen. You can't just keep printing it. So I tried to show you examples of when that's happened. Rome and Spain and France and England and Sri Lanka and Venezuela and Zimbabwe and Germany, 1923. I show you all the examples where, well, why didn't they keep printing the money then? So why didn't Germany in 1923 keep printing the money and then everything would be fine? That's what they did. They kept printing the money, making it worthless. And only when the Bundesbank came in against the Deutsche Bank and brought in new money did it settle it down, but it still didn't solve the problem. It was still bankrupt. When Hitler takes over, he's bankrupt, which is why he got all the gold, was because he knew, again, gold's the answer. And he was going to what? He was going to bankrupt Britain by printing a bunch of British pounds. That was his plan. But then it was so good of the counterfeit, he said, fuck it, we'll just use them as real money. So Hitler knew about printing the money makes it worthless, but our guys don't. Or the MMT guys. I mean, it's just unbelievable. There is no excuse for anyone getting us one silver for not getting. Okay. Yeah, but common sense. Okay. Well, thank you, Pat. See, I can use logic and explain it in a way most people can't because I know it that well. I'm like that with football. I can really explain it, and people go, and that's why I'm going to bet the game. So they keep asking me for my picks. I said, you got to go to class. So I did give them one pick today. I gave them Northern Illinois over Notre Dame, and they can. I don't know if I'll play the game, but people want my information because the way I deliver it, but I know what I'm talking about. See, if you're very confident because you know it, like I do, I don't have any notes. You ever see me with notes? The only notes I have is if I'm like, what are those 5 things of money? Oh yeah, let's see. Yeah, the 5 things of money. Yeah, I can't remember them, but it's portable, scarce, divisible, fungible, acceptable, and durable. That's the gold standard. I mean, so that I need to look at my notes, but otherwise I don't look at my notes. What caused the Roman Empire to fall? Now, this is the part that you're talking about, Pat. Don't people understand the Roman Empire fell apart because of inflation? They took the gold and silver out of the coins, which is called debasement. Now, what these idiots want to call printing the money debasement. Printing the money is inflation. That's the inflation. You printed the money. The debasement is debasing the coins, taking the gold and silver out of the coins in Rome. That's the Roman Empire. So you don't understand why people don't get that. Why? Okay, you don't want to listen to me. Look at what happened in Rome. Now they probably don't even understand what happened in Rome. All these crazy emperors, Nero and Caligula and his uncle or whatever. All these people destroyed it because they weren't they then it became a dictatorship, and it was, it wasn't an empire anymore, or it wasn't a republic anymore. It became an empire. So when the guy died, his son took over. Was his son Marcus Aurelius's son we saw on Gladiator? Was he capable of leading? No. This is the biggest problem you have with these countries. The people that are leading it, one might be good, but the one who follows doesn't know what they're doing. There is no training to be president of any country, and there is no training about money. So all of a sudden you're put in charge and you go, wow, I got all this money. Oh, let's print some more. Let's have some fun. I'm gonna do it. I saw Money Heist. The first Money Heist, they go and print all these euros in the bank. And they go, oh, I got €1 billion or whatever they got. And they're all having fun, like, oh, look at all this money. And that's the problem. They're not trained for it. You have very few professors who know what's going on, but we're not in charge, right? I should be running the country from a financial standpoint, but I'm not. And that's the problem, is people like me who should be running understand it, who understands the effects. We're not there. It's all bullshit. So you got guys that have no idea what they're doing in charge, and they're just killing it. They're like, what are you doing? It's like Harris saying, well, we're going to price fix things. What are you talking about? You can't price fix things. The guy making the product has to make money on it, or he won't make the product. That's how a market works. They don't even understand that. Well, we'll price fix it. We want gun control. No, you don't want gun control, because then the government knows you don't have a gun and you're dead. You don't need gun control, because then the government doesn't know if you don't have a gun, so they won't attack you. Being in a non-gun control country, you're safe because people don't know if you have a gun or not, so they'll leave you alone because they're afraid you might have a gun. If you're in a gun control country like the Nazi Germany, the Nazis knew you didn't have a gun because they said we got gun control here, no more guns. Now they can go walk in with a gun, and they know everybody doesn't have a gun, and then that's the problem with monopolies. And they printed the money, and it was all bankrupt, and then he stole all the gold. He got it, though. Give Hitler credit. He understood that the gold was the key to the wealth. Only thing you understand. All the killing, it just makes me sick, but he did get that, or his crew got that. And that was probably the whole point of the war, was to steal the gold. So we need an army so we can defend ourselves. But then he got carried away going into Russia. What were you going into Russia for? What did you want in Russia? It's a bunch of fucking land. Everybody lives in Moscow and St. Petersburg. After that, it's all villages. It's nothing. What do you want that for? All right, maybe some natural resources. Maybe you want the oil. Okay. And that's it. So it's like, I saw this movie Narvik, where it's on Netflix. It's a good one. It's about, I always get these, like the Netherlands or Norway. I think it's Norway. And they had all the iron ore, and the Germans needed the iron ore to make their tanks and planes and everything, or whatever you use iron ore for. But the Brits didn't want them to have it. So the people in Narvik were fighting the Germans. And this is the way Germany loses. So they lost that war, and then they sent airplanes and just blew the whole thing up. That's how the Germans lost. Okay, if we lose, we're gonna take the ball and go with you. It was terrible. Pat, so professor, in other words, millions of rich people are going to be traumatized soon, unfortunately. Yep. And all these elitists, the Zuckerbergs and the Bill Gates and the Warren Buffets, none of them understand money. They're just IT type of people. Buffet's just he sells insurance. He doesn't know what he's doing. And this is the problem. They're all going to go to zero because I doubt any of them are buying gold. They're too stupid to because they don't know. And so their financial advisor tells them stay in stock. So look what Warren Buffet is doing. He's selling all his Apple stock or this stock or that stock. But does he say he's buying gold? No. Is he buying gold? I don't know. But they don't say he's buying gold with the money he sold, which is what he should be doing. And that's what all these central banks are doing, right? Look at all the central banks, China, Russia, and all in Europe and Asia. What are they doing? Probably Singapore too. They sell the dollars but they're buying gold and all the bullshit US dollars they got, they're dumping and they're just buying gold with the money. And it's not going to last. So when the gold hits $15,000 and you try to use this to buy it, who's going to want this? The Saudis don't want it for their oil now. They want to get paid in real dollars. So do the Chinese, so do all these countries. They don't want the US dollar. They know it's worthless. They want something with a real value. They want gold and silver for their products. Saudi Arabia with the oil wants to get paid in gold. And so they're starting to understand it. They get it. It's the common people, especially the Americans, who don't have a clue about what gold is or that the dollar can go out. They don't think the dollar can go out. Warren Buffet's plan is, I'll hoard money, and then when the prices of everything start dropping, I'll use my money to buy, a house for $100 or whatever. Well, but your money won't be worth anything. He doesn't understand that. He doesn't understand his money will be worthless. This is the point that he doesn't get. And most people, they don't think the money can be worthless because we're America. We're the, whatever the whatchamacallit. We're number one. We're the reserve currency. And that's what they think. So how can the dollar be worthless? We're the reserve currency. We're America. We've been the leader for 50 years. What can happen to us? Well, you keep printing it and printing it. That's why I'm sure George Soros is running the U.S. Why would Biden do it? He doesn't know what day it is. And then whoever's running the printing press, J.P. Morgan, why would they do it? I have a monopoly on printing dollars. Why would I make them worthless? There goes my monopoly, because all the money I have now is worthless. So the last thing I do if I got a monopoly on printing money is print so much money it becomes worthless. That would be stupid. That'd be like De Beers, who has the diamond monopoly, right? Any diamond you buy goes through De Beers, and it came from them. So why would they print so much that it's worthless? If you notice Rolex, they do not make very many watches on purpose. You want to go order the Submariner I showed you for $100,000. You go to the store and you say, I want one. And they're going to say, it's going to take you a year. So you got to wait a year for it. Or Joe Blow has one that's used that he can sell you for $125,000, but you'll get it right away. And people don't have the patience, will pay more to get it right away. And it's not greed. It's just selfish. It's like they're children. So you would know that going in, no, I'll buy a new one. I would want a new one. And if I have to wait a year, I wait a year. Nick bought one, and he'll do fine with it. I think he paid $20,000 for it. It'll go way up. But that's what happens. But yes, all these rich people are not smart people. They got their money through hook and crook, right? Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, they cheated people for their money. And not because they know what's going on. Zuckerberg has no idea what gold is. He has no idea to get out of it. And he thinks, I got $1 billion and I don't need to worry about it. until it collapses. So they can think they're fine, but they don't know the reality is they're not fine. They're all fucked. But they're too stupid to buy gold, because if they bought gold, it would be insurance. Therefore, if the $1 billion go to zero, I got gold, and gold's going up. So it's a win-win if you have gold and you dump your dollars. Because you have a lot of it doesn't mean it's worth anything. And they don't understand that the dollar can't be worthless. This is the whole point in a nutshell that these people have, is that problem. They don't get it. And you can only explain it till you're blue in the face. I can only go up to guys at the club or wherever, at the lake, or wherever I go. But when I was in Berlin, the cab driver understood. The guy at the hotel understood. Oh yeah, I got gold. Yeah, oh yeah, I got gold. So they get it in Germany because they lived it in 1920. They know to not trust the banks and not trust the printing money, and to get out of it. They understand that part. Everyone I know is heavy on real estate or government bonds. Why would you be in government bonds? All the country's money is worthless, so the bonds are worthless. We got a $36 trillion debt here. Do you honestly think you're going to get paid? You think when your bond expires, they're going to give you money for it when there's $36 billion in front of you? They're not going to pay the $36 billion off. How are they going to pay you your bond? I mean, the bond, what, 5%? Oh boy. So that's going to be worth like 10 cents, because when the inflation runs out, it'll the $10 you made will be like a nickel. I mean, I got $100. Well, that's worthless. Having a lot of garbage doesn't make the garbage more valuable. Oh, exactly. I mean, and that's the real problem. I'm getting sore from sitting. That's the real problem. You have to understand it. And I do it with football. You have to understand Mahomes the best player. So you bet Kansas City as much as possible because Mahomes is the best player. The best player wins. Or Joe Burrow. You bet on them because they got the best players. They're going to win. That's the point of it. But you have to understand that. And, everybody thinks Caleb's this great player. They don't understand he's not, but they think he is. So if you try to say Caleb's no good, everybody's going to boo you, except for my class. They know I'm smart enough to spot it. But that's the point. You have to understand what's going on, which most people don't. They don't even understand it. You tell them buy gold, they won't, because they don't understand why. They don't get that the dollar can go out. They don't get BRICS is about to raise the gold price. They don't get gold's been price fixed down and paper. They don't get any of that. So therefore, they can't possibly understand it, right? They don't get it. So what are you going to do with them? That's the problem. How do you make people that don't understand? I mean, how do I teach football if you don't know what football is, right? So that's part of it. They're not stupid. It's not taught here. And nobody is smart enough to ask the questions that I ask, which is, well, why is gold on COMEX? Why is it $1,800 an ounce? How does that price get set? And then you dig into it and you start finding out it's all price fixed. It's all paper gold. But then the key weakness is BRICS coming up. But the gold backed currency will blow it up. You go, and is that going to happen? Yes. And end of October, and now you have the dynamite to blow it up, because now you realize what's going to happen. It's not will it happen, it's going to happen, because you have this fucking war between the US and Russia, and everybody's tired of your little fucking shenanigans. Nobody wants a 50-year war in the Ukraine. It's insane. Why are we in a war? It's 2024. Why are we even discussing war? Are you guys out of your minds? What are you thinking? And you're not even at war with anybody. You're sending in other troops to fight Russians. Are you insane? The Russians will kill you. They got 100 times the men and manpower and the money, and all they're doing is defending their country. And what do? You don't even have your own troops in there. So it's really asinine. This whole war is bullshit. It's about money. I don't even know if it's about oil or minerals or whatever. And is it really about NATO? Like, really? That's what it's about? Why are we pushing NATO? Why don't we just say, yeah, you're right. We don't need NATO in the Ukraine. We got them in Poland. That's close enough. So happens to all the bankers and all the financial capitals in the Western world. Well, they all collapse except for the smart ones who have gold. So do JP Morgan and Chase and Wells Fargo have gold in their accounts? If not, they'll all be blown up. Now, is the banking system the best that it can be as far as is there another system? And I think it's the best system, but I think it was designed earlier, the 1800s. People needing a place to put their money, and they'd put it in and they'd guard it. You know, I watched A Few Dollars More with the Clint Eastwood movie, and they're going to rob the bank in El Paso. Well, why? Because if I have money, what do I do with it? Right? So I got to put it in a bank for protection. Well, now you don't need that. Now you got debit and credit cards. Now you can put the money in Rolexes and baseball cards, and you can keep the money at home in a safe, which you never thought of before. And that's the difference. Do you really need the bank? Well, the only thing we really need the banks for is when you get paid your paycheck. Here's your $3,000, and they direct deposit into your account, and then you play with it from there. Okay, I got to pay bills, and I want to go buy gold with this, and I want a couple hundred in my wallet to go to the casino. So you're divvying it up, but the focal point is it goes into your bank. How else does the company pay you? And why do they pay you in dollars? Well, that's easy, because you don't want tomatoes. I don't want $3,000 of tomatoes because I can't spend them. I want something, and that's the beauty of Say's law. I make the money and then use what I get paid to buy other things. So that's why the dollar is so good, is because I can get paid in this and then use it to buy other things. And that's where the dollar, but you're not supposed to print it to zero like these idiots are doing. And that's why they need to come out with a gold-backed currency or some other, well, it's got to be that, because they came out with USD2, it'd still be worthless. It's not backed by gold. If it's not backed by gold, it's worthless. This has been worthless since 71. That's why the petrodollar collapsed, because Saudi Arabia doesn't want dollars for it. They want gold for their oil, which perfectly makes sense to me. I would rather get gold for my football picks than dollars, but I can go to the store and trade in my dollars for gold. Alligator was doing that money, real money and fiat money, but really it's just gold is money because you can't print it, right? We know that. So I'm going to take this dollar that isn't worth anything because it's not backed by gold, and I'm going to get the gold for it. Very simple, very logical. So once you determine that gold is very limited and very much in demand, but when you look at it, the price doesn't look right. Why is it 2,500? This thing should be 25,000. Gold's been around, the dollar's been collapsing. There's not a lot of gold, very low supply. There's huge demand. Why is the price so low? That's the question that needs to be asked, that only people like me ask, because we want to learn. We want to understand, why is it so low? Oh, it's price fixed by COMEX paper. Ah, okay, I get it. And then does it last, or can we get out of it? Can it go up? And it's slowly going up. And then, like I said, when brics and when a gold backed currency arrives, then the price goes to the moon. So we're very close to it. But that's the thing. You've got to realize what it is and what's going on. And it's very simple if you just listen and understand, but everybody fights it. Oh no, gold's not worth anything. And the dollar, how can the dollar be worthless? And how can the dollar go out? Well, go ask the Romans in 500 AD what the fuck happened. The people with the gold, the Ottomans took them over. Said, fuck you guys. And all the Romans left because they're not getting paid in gold anymore because there isn't any. So all the soldiers left. We're not risking our lives for nothing. So things that are worthless, I guess that's the key, is understanding what has value and what's worthless. And as I keep saying, this has no value. This is worthless. This is worthless. These are worthless because you can't, if you keep printing them, you kill the value in these. So they have no value because you printed them to death, as I like to say. You printed so many of them that there's no value. Well, what has value? And that's what I keep coming back to. The Rolex, the Mantle card, gold and the silver. So you want to jump into those, but get more gold and silver, and then get into the Rolex because you're going to need money. And how are you going to sell your Rolex? It'll keep its $100,000 value. Oh, you need gold. The gold will buy your Rolex for you. And then you'll be rich because you'll have gold. So you want to buy things that the gold person will give you. So again, as we get to the free market, this is all a free trade. I want to give you $1. Well, I want to give you $20 for a rib dinner, right? That's the value that's worth it, right? I'll give you that for the ribs. Oh wait, for $45, I don't see the value. It's too much. You want too many dollars for the rib dinner. That's the problem. That's why prices can't keep going up. The market sits there and says, no, 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 no. I'm not going to give you $5 for a 2-liter Coke. I'm not giving you $10 for Oreo pies. That so they raised the price. It didn't say, and now the prices are going down. And they think, oh, inflation's over because people don't want to give up their phony dollars for these items. And that's why there's no such thing as deflation. And the inflation is purely printing money. But it's the value. So you don't want to give up the value. You don't realize the value of the dollar's gone down, right? It used to take me $2 for Oreo cookies. Now it takes me $5. Did the dollar lose value? Yes. So you're holding something with very little value, if any. And that's why you want to trade it for gold, silver, Rolexes, because then you go, these have value. Gold has value. Why? Because they can't print it. Because it's very limited. Where this gets printed to death, the gold doesn't get printed. You can't print the gold. Only the government can make some coins and bars, and that's it. Oh, there's an Andy Scheckman I wanted to show you about taxes. So you're going to love this. Let me get to that. This was the other day. Here it is. All right. When does gold and silver purchases get reported? All right, very critical. Pat, so happens to all the bankers in the financial capital. Well, it's the same thing that happened in 2008. They all went broke, but they got bailed out by the government. This time there's no bailout because they don't have any money because it has no value. All right, let's go to this one.
If you're getting old like me and you want to sell your home near Detroit or anywhere on this map for a few things that people ask over and over, you get to go over real quick. Sure. Report purchases, report selling back.
No reporting on purchases at all, ever. The only time there would be reporting would be if you paid with cash. in excess of $10,000, like green cash, like
Green
this
cash.
kind of cash, you know, in excess of $10,000, or multiple money order or cashier's checks under $10,000 each. Like you could do a cashier's check for $1 million, no reporting. But if you did, 1,000, checks at $9,000 each, you're going to get reporting or in cash. But it's important to understand that that's retail law in this country. Well, if you went to that welding store and you paid with $11,000 and $100 bills, they're supposed to issue you a Form 8300. If you go and buy, you go buy your whole family a new wardrobe at Nordstrom's and pay with cash, you get a Form 8300. That would be the same thing here. So, it's not just specific to precious metals. So you pay with a check or a wire or an e-check, there is zero in the form of dealer reporting. When you sell back, there are some things that trigger reporting. Let's go over them real quick. In gold, there are 3 coins and then bars. Bars in excess of 1 kilogram, 32.15 ounces in one trade, right? So if you had, 100 1-ounce gold bars, if you sell me 32, I don't need your social. You sell 33, I do. Now, in theory, you would never want to call the dealer and say, I got 100 bars and I'm not reporting any of it, so I'm going to, break it up. You don't want to say that. But you could call a dealer and say, hey, I got 32 1-ounce gold bars. I'd like to sell them. You call back a few days later. Hey, I'm going to sell another 32. You call back a few days later. I'm going to sell another 32. Legal, completely unrelated transactions. Don't tell the dealer what I don't want to know that you're trying to avoid reporting. And I just don't. And that's not you shouldn't give that onus to the dealer. Instead, if you sell under 32.15 ounces in one time in bar form, then no 1099 is filed. The coins that would trigger it on the 25th ounce, Krugerrands, Maple Leafs, and 50 pesos. That's it. Gold Krugerrands, gold Maple Leafs, and gold 50 pesos on the 25th ounce. Nothing else triggers dealer reporting, period. So here again, you could sell 24 Krugerrands today, sell 23 the next day, another 24 a few days later, 20 a couple days later. No dealer reporting. You sell more than 24 in one occasion there is. So you could sell back as many American Eagles, Buffaloes, Kangaroos, Philharmonics, pre-33, Chinese Panda. None of that stuff triggers it. So it's a very small window. In silver, it's bars or rounds, generic rounds, not the coins, bars or generic rounds in excess of 1,000 ounces in one transaction, period. So you could sell 980 today and 950 tomorrow and 700 the next day. 1,000 ounces in bar or generic round form, or 1,000 face value in pre-65 silver. So anything under that amount, not triggering it. So you can sell Maple Leafs, even silver Krugerrands, not gold, but silver, old Morgan silver dollars, Philharmonics, Britannias, Kangaroos, none of that will trigger it. Just the rounds and the bars in excess of 1,000 ounces in one trade, and the junk silver in 1,000 face in one trade. That's it.
Well, thank you, Andy. And this
Finally, something of value from Andy Scheckman. So there, I know a lot of us are like, well, do we have to pay taxes? I know Bobby's like interested in it. And no, just don't sell 32 ounces of gold at one time. So take 10 in, but once it hits 50,000 an ounce, how many are you going to take in? 2 or 3? I mean, you're not taking in 32. So Luke, but I still say to you, Luke, when you buy the house, you're going to just trade him gold for the house. You're not going to sell the gold, get the money and buy the house. You're going to sit there and go, well, I'll give you 2 ounces of gold for your house, and he will take it. So I know you're nervous about that, but just buy the house directly. You don't need a mortgage. So again, it's good to know how the tax is paid and what you do with it. So yeah, you should be fine. I'm just sell 10 ounces at a time at 10,000 a piece. What else are you going to do? But again, you don't really want dollars for it. You when you sell it, you really don't want this because this is worthless. So you really want to sell it for the BRICS gold-backed currency, or to buy the house or the car directly. Go into the Mercedes dealers, I'll give you an ounce of silver for the car, an ounce of gold for the car. That's what you want. And, will they take it? Probably. At that point, they'll figure out this is the only thing worth money. Everyone I know is heavy on real estate or government bonds. Yeah. Yeah, I think you told me that. Yeah, so what happens to the bankers? So, yeah, that's it, Pat. Well, what happens to everybody holding dollars? You're fucked. I mean, that's the problem with it. You're fucked, and there's nothing you can do. So, let's see. There's this one, BRICS update. Saudi signs a $50 billion deal with China. Let's watch that.
Don't go to college just to earn a piece of paper. The United States has been applying considerable pressure on Saudi Arabia to distance itself from China and other BRICS nations due to concerns over geopolitical and economic issues. The U.S. is particularly focused on preventing the transfer of crucial technology, infrastructure, and data to China, which could potentially threaten U.S. national security and economic interests. Nonetheless, Saudi Arabia's recent actions, including the signing of $50 billion in memorandums of understanding with Chinese financial institutions, suggest a clear intent to strengthen its relationship with China. This development is part of Saudi Arabia's broader strategy to diversify its economic partnerships and reduce its dependence on oil, aligning with its Vision 2030 initiative. The agreements with Chinese banks aim to enhance two-way capital flows, covering both debt and equity investments, thereby promoting deeper economic integration between the two nations. Specifically, Saudi Arabia's investments in China saw substantial growth, highlighted by the PIF's move to sign 6 major agreements worth $50 billion with leading Chinese financial institutions. These deals were aimed at enhancing bilateral capital flows, supporting investments in various sectors including technology and infrastructure. This follows the previous year's surge, where investments by Gulf funds in China increased from a modest $100 million to $2.3 billion in 2023, underscoring the rapid intensification of economic ties. Saudi Aramco has significant...
So you can see Saudi Arabia saying, fuck you, U.S., we don't care about you. We're going to go on. And China and Russia and India, they deal with and make these deals with. And before, you had a deal in U.S., and everybody's pissed about that. So they're all saying, screw you. I'm just going to pay you. I'm going to pay you the Saudi dollars, and you can turn it into yuan. And then eventually I'm going to pay you in gold, or I'm going to pay you in oil, and you're going to buy my oil with gold, and that'll be fine. And it's the competition. What the U.S. has done is killed the competition again with the monopoly. That's the one thing J. Morgan understood, which is really bad, is monopolies. He always wanted a monopoly. He couldn't handle the competition. That's why he did the Federal Reserve and everything else that he did that bankrupts this country. Is the monopoly takes the competition away, which takes the value out, which really fucks everybody. So one guy makes it and everybody else loses. So here, Saudi Arabia is getting out of, is dealing with China, not with us, and Russia's dealing with China, not with us. But when you sanction the country, I don't know what they're thinking. Oh, well, that'll be the end of Russia because they won't be able to. Yeah, but they're dealing with China and Saudi Arabia and India. They're fine. What did you do? You sanctioned them so they couldn't deal with you, but that backfires. Because if they won't deal in U.S., they'll find other currencies to deal with. They don't care. And I don't know if this war is about to bankrupt Russia. Is that what the strategy was? We'll just keep fighting till Russia runs out of money. Well, they got 25,000 tons of gold. They're not running out of money. Putin's no idiot, right? but we are, because we're the ones running out of money. China's also running out of money, but we keep seeing that over and over. What else? So here you got China.
If you've been getting scam texts like these, it means your data was probably leaked online somewhere.
Shut the fuck up. So this is about I don't know what the Dai Chuang Feng exits China, shuts 14 North China stores. So this is a big retailer going out of business, like all the others, like the airlines leaving, like all the billionaires leaving. China's basically fucked, but they won't use the gold until we're fucked. And then they're going to say, okay, here's the gold backed currency. So it's probably like the U.S. trying to make them go out, but the U.S. doesn't realize they got 60,000 tons of gold, I would imagine. So this is China just, being hurt, but the gold will save them. Oh yeah, we don't have any gold. We're too stupid.
鼎泰丰关闭了华北区14家店。Taifeng has closed 14 stores in North China. Those who have dined there know that this is a Taiwanese brand with 32 locations in mainland China. Their signature dish is the crab roast soup dumplings, priced at 100 yuan for 10 pieces. A serving of egg fried rice can sell for 80 yuan with an additional 10% service charge. The average per...
So the dollar is 7. So when they say $70, 71, it's $10. So 100 is like $15. So it's not that expensive, but it sounds expensive.
Capita spending is around 150 yuan. The reason for the closures is a loss of over 40 million yuan, with about 40% of their foreign clientele not returning.
On August 26, Beijing Din Tai Fung, part of the well-known Taiwanese restaurant chain, announced that they would gradually close 14 branches in North China by October 31st. This decision comes after the company's 20-year business license expired, and the board couldn't agree on renewing it. The news has sparked a wave of reactions on Chinese social media. Within just a few hours, over 4 million users on Weibo had commented on the news. Many fans expressed their sadness, with some saying, "I'm going to cry. Why are you leaving us?" and "Another great restaurant is disappearing." General Manager Yang Bingkun stated that while the Din Tai Fung brand is highly regarded in China, especially among foreign customers who make up 20 to 30% of their clientele, the return of foreign customers post-pandemic has been slower than expected. It only started to pick up this year. Din Tai Fung is closing several of its stores in North China, including 8 in Beijing, 2 in Tianjin, 2 in Qingdao, and 1 each in Xi'an and Xiamen. The company has announced plans to handle employee compensation and resettlement, ensuring that customers with prepaid cards are protected. Reports suggest that the closure of these stores will affect around 800 employees, with severance and compensation costs estimated to reach 60 million yuan. This move marks Din Tai Fung's exit from the North China market, where the brand has been a popular choice for diners. Din Tai Fung currently operates 31 outlets across mainland China. After these closures, only 17 will remain, with the locations.
So that's just a business lesson. You go to make a product and you go to sell it, and it only works if there's customers. And if nobody can afford or wants to buy your food, you go out of business. Simple as that. You've got to understand Say's law. There's got to be people that are demanding your food. That's how business works. And if there's nobody there to eat, they got to close because it's costing them money to buy the food, to pay the employees, the taxes, the rent, and everything else. Meaning our break even is selling, 500 of these dishes a day. They don't have 500 people coming. They have to close. And that's what's happening. I don't know if this says 1 day ago, but I don't know if it's from the pandemic or not. I have not thought this was from the pandemic, but maybe some of these are from the pandemic. Makes sense. But that's the problem. So the Saudi one is definitely not But this is what happens. This is how business works. Can I sell my product, and at what price, and what's my cost? So if it costs me $20 and I can sell it for 40 and there's a market for it, every one I sell, I make $20 and I'm happier than hell. However, if these price controls come in and I can't sell them for 40 anymore. The government's saying you can only sell them for 20, but it cost me 20. Maybe it cost me 25 with the inflation, and I can only sell them for 20. Then I get out of business because I can't make money. So every egg roll I sell there at 100 yuan, I assume only cost them 80. But if I can't sell any of them, then I got all this waste, all this food, and I got the rent, and I got all my costs. So that's what's happening. That's what's going to happen to the banks and a lot of other industries. The banks are going to be in problems because people won't pay their loans back. So as I said, if Pat gave me $20,000 and I'm a bank and I say, okay, Pat, I'm going to get 3% interest. I'm going to take your 20 grand and loan it out to somebody who wants a Mercedes. And he's going to give me 7% for the loan because inflation's high. And then I'm going to take the 7, give Pat 3 and keep 4. And that's how a bank works. But if all the loans they've lent out, they don't get repaid or they can't get repaid, that's a problem. And that's when everything goes to hell, is the banks aren't getting the revenue. They need to get something in for revenue, right? So it's like selling the loan is the revenue. And if they can't, if so they sold it so they could give Pat his interest. But if people are returning the loan saying, I can't pay it, too bad, here you go, you can have my car, whatever. The banks are fucked because they're expecting to get 7% in, but they're not getting anything. That's what's happening to the banks. They're all going to collapse very soon. But then what happens is the question: do we need banks or some form of? How do we get paid? Really, that's the question. How do we get paid and pay our bills? Do we need a bank for that or something else? We certainly don't need the central bank for it. We certainly don't need CBDCs. That makes no sense. That the central banks would issue money to us and keep track, that makes no sense. They're not set up for that. They don't have the population or workforce to issue 350 million CBDC accounts. And where would I go to collect? Well, there's not a central bank on every corner. That's the point of the Chase and the JP Morgans and the Wells Fargos, is they deal with the people and the Fed deals with the banks. That's the idea. So again, do we need banks? Well, how do we do the transaction? So my employer direct deposits my paycheck into my bank. So without a bank, how does the employer pay me? Pay me in gold is what I'd want, but that's the question. How do they pay me? And that's it. Turkey officially applied for BRICS. That's a game changer. Not really. They were out. A lot of, like, Indonesia and South Korea is also going to apply. I don't know if Mexico is going to do it. A lot of Middle East countries, a lot of African countries. Africa wants to go on the gold standard. Now that it's kind of being accepted that BRICS is doing it, Africa's right behind saying, we want to do it. The fear is the U.S. blowing you up, as what happened to Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein, for trying to go on a gold-backed currency. So this will be very interesting to see what does happen here with that. But that's what Africa wants to do. Now, will they join BRICS? Probably. But it's not like alliances like NATO where they can still fight each other. But this is to do business with each other. So we're going to have this BRICS gold-backed currency. which all the BRICS countries can use to trade with each other. And I would assume people vacationing in China can go to Russia and use the BRICS currency to do it, and vice versa. That would be my thought process. We'll see how it works, but that's what they're doing. Anything gold back has the value of the gold to keep the value of the money. So the money will always have a good value because it's backed by gold. That's why all our currencies are going out. They're not backed by anything. You cannot have something not backed by anything. Once you deal with that, once you deal with the dollar not backed by anything, it's worthless. It's been worthless since 1971. So had you known, so once you hear a country going off the gold standard, it's immediately their dollar's worthless. And you go and run and buy gold at that point, and you don't care what the price is, because eventually it'll be worthless. How this lasted 53 years is a mystery that should never, shouldn't have lasted. Like, it started to go out in the early 70s. Gold went to 800 an ounce, should never have come back. So that's kind of my point. But yeah, gold here is that's the king. That's what you own. You can't lose with it. Never. Nobody can say it's worthless. They can't. There's no way. And with BRICS, and they own all the gold, Russia, China, and everybody, they don't want it worthless. They need it worth 10, 20,000 an ounce because they know it'll bankrupt the U.S. and the West, and that's what they want to do. So they're being clever about it, but they're waiting for the U.S. to collapse, and we're about there. So this will be an interesting election. This will be an interesting October with BRICS going, we're going to do gold-backed currency October 22nd. And, well, then everybody goes, there's finally competition for the dollar. Do I want to hold BRICS or do I want to hold the dollar? Well, the dollar's not backed by anything. I don't want to hold it. It has no value. I want the gold-backed currency, which has a value of gold. I'll take that. And 99 out of 100 people will switch to the gold-backed currency because only a complete idiot would stay in the dollar, which, of course, will be our government employees and Warren Buffett and that. So keep that in mind. That's what's going to happen. Again, it's the economy is based on, it's perfectly set up, except for the medium of exchange you can't fuck with. It has to be limited. You can't print it to death. It destroys the whole supply-demand culture. Well, wait a minute. How do I do fair trades, free trades? If my currency, you fuck my currency, it's now worthless. What do I use to make all the transactions? How do I pay for food and rent, and my car payment and car insurance? How do I pay for it? The dollar's collapsed. I mean, that's why these idiots cannot be in charge. They don't know what they're doing. Anyway, that's how it works. That's as clear as I can explain economics. It's a lot of what people want, right? And we want competition because we might want to go to one grocery store or another for our watermelon or whatever, right? We like the choice. There's the expensive grocery store and the cheap grocery, the Walmarts and the Krogers. And, for some stuff I can go to Walmart's, it's fine. And some stuff I want better quality, I go to Kroger's. And that's it. Or I go to Costco's because I can get it cheap, but I got to buy 100 steaks to get the discount. I mean, that's just what they've chosen. And that's really it. It's just a matter of, but you don't fuck the money up. So the big question here is, how do you tell people that the money's fucked up? And my best is the Titanic that I would think people can understand. The money's sinking and you need to get into the lifeboat. The only lifeboat's gold and silver. There is no other lifeboat. Rolex, kind of a lifeboat, but there's no real money. Rolex isn't money. It's an asset that has a good value, and it will keep its value It'll just need to get priced in gold, as the Mantle cards will. The Jordan rookie, that'll just go to gold. That won't get hurt. The houses won't get hurt. They'll go to dollars. They'll go to zero, but then they'll go to a gold currency price, and it'll be a lot cheaper. So a $500,000 house in fiat might be $10,000 in gold, because gold's real money and the dollar's worthless. You keep printing this, keeps losing value. So if I get rid of this and I reprice it in gold, it could be as low as $5,000 for the $500,000 house that is made in fiat currency. You'll get rid of interest rates. You'll get rid of unemployment. You'll get rid of central banks. You'll get rid of all the nasty stuff, which is why they're not supposed to be here, because they were told to get the fuck out. No central bank, only gold and silver. It's all in the Constitution, but nobody wants to follow the Constitution. But so what's the point of having a Constitution if nobody follows it, and then people let this happen? It's insane. Where in the Constitution says, oh yeah, you can price fix gold and silver? Where's that written in there? I doubt it. So again, then it becomes a money issue. If I have a lot of money, I can go be a lobbyist and give money to the politicians to vote my way. That's what happened in Rome. That's what's happening here. That's the fall of the Roman Empire and the American Empire. We are done. We're toast. Only nobody wants to realize it. We are, but nobody wants to realize it. And the next empire's BRICS. Nobody wants to go to China, but go to Russia. It's probably better. I don't know. I mean, it's a police state, I think. But I think what I've heard is they leave you alone if you leave them alone. Okay, fine. I'll be off in my little house, and leave me alone, and that's fine. We'll both be happy. Maybe we can get a ride on the Putin train that's all gold and everything. But this is economics in its purest form. It's don't fuck with the money. So where everybody's going to be in trouble, it's not everybody. It's only the people in the dollar are going to be in trouble. If you own gold, you're fine, because they destroyed the dollar. They didn't destroy the gold, and the gold's what's going to keep us, is going to survive us, right? Because we have gold. We can go and buy things in gold, our food, our gas, whatever we need. And that's why it'll really be worth a lot. Like I said, a $500,000 house will be $5,000. So, but the gold value will be $25,000, $30,000. Until it's not priced in dollars, it'll be worth even more. So we go fill up our tank with gas, it'd be an ounce of silver. That'll fill it up. Probably not even a full ounce. So people got to understand, everything gets switched. If you live in the dollar world, you're fucked. But if you live in the gold world, you're fine. And things will become much cheaper for you. That's why when I get asked the question by everybody, do I have enough gold and silver? The answer is never yes. It's always buy more, buy more, buy more, because you won't be able to find these prices. And when you need it, when the dollar collapses and you need to buy things, because that's how our world is. I need to eat. I need to get clothes. I need to get my gas for my car and get new tires. The only surviving is going to be with the gold and silver. Who knows what dollar these idiots are going to come out with? What was George Soros going to come out with for the U.S.? Is it going to be U.S. dollar 2? That'll be worthless because it won't be backed by gold. So just be careful with that. And then the end game is always, if it is, just take as much of these dollars and go buy gold with it. Just keep buying gold with whatever the medium of exchange is. If it's number 2, or if it's euro number 2, this is euro number 1. If it's euro number 2, just take it and keep buying gold, because it'll be worthless. It has to be worthless. It's not worth anything if it isn't backed by gold. It'll scam people for a while, and then they'll figure out this is worthless too. And my assumption is Saudi Arabia wants to get gold for oil, right? So we come out with US dollar number 2 or euro number 2, and it's not backed by gold. Do you think Saudi Arabia is going to take it? You're going to say, no, this is still garbage. I want to get paid in gold and or silver for my oil. So he'll put an end to it saying, no, it's not backed by gold. I don't want it. So you don't get any oil because it's not backed by gold. And that's the bottom line there. So that's really what you're trying to do. So I'm not surprised Turkey joined BRICS. Most of the Middle East, most of Africa, most of Asia, and most of South America, Latin America will all join BRICS. They really hate the U.S., and I understand why. I mean, you don't treat people like this. If you just would have been Ben Franklin and you just, okay, what can we do for you? And been Austrian, as in Austrian economics, as these are your customers, none of this would have happened. But you fucked around and you tried to be, Biff from Back to the Future and this powerful guy and forcing people, and I'm going to sanction you and I'm going to take my ball home. You've created a lot of enemies, and this is what you get. So, I would look to move to a different country very soon. We certainly don't want to live in a George Soros world. We want to live in a free world for what that's worth. And, it could be Sweden, it could be Russia, it could be Amsterdam. It's got to be somewhere where it's kind of you're free and, the currency's okay. I mean, the currency is the key to it. If you don't have good currency, you're fucked anyway. So that's kind of what the point is. So anyway, that's what we got. Let's take our last look at gold. Since that's our God. $24.94. We got a little spike up as the Asians start taking over. I think we'll see $25.25 when we wake up. Silver $28.06. Don't worry about it. It's a buying opportunity. So you got to realize everything's going that way. So it's cheap because it's price fixed, not because people are selling it. It's not because of demand. So you realize it's cheap and I'll buy it at 20. I can't lose on it. Once it breaks, once gold goes to the moon, people won't be able to afford gold. They'll buy silver because silver is real money also. And that's really why you want to buy it. So they're trying to keep the price down for these solar panels and electric cars, but they won't be able to. And they're all trying to buy it outside of COMEX anyway. So we'll get a real price on it. China's been keeping the price down apparently so they can hoard it, which is fine. But how much silver's out there? I don't know. I think it's 750,000 tons, 32,000 ounces a ton. But how much is left? I mean, a lot of people have, a lot of silver that nobody realizes. And again, it wears out. So where people think there's a lot of silver, there's not. And there's just no silver available at these prices. You're going to have to raise the price to get silver to build your stuff. So I know there's a shortage, so there's not much left. So again, it's the game. It's the JP Morgan, George Soros game. Like people like there's silver available that there isn't. Yeah, I can walk into my coin store and buy 10, 20 ounces. Not tons. And, they get the big bar and they chop it down and make coins out of it. But it's few and far between. And just be careful with it. Make sure on eBay you pay the right price. So I see 5 coins for $100 and I go, wait a minute, it's 35 a coin, 71. It should be like $175. How are you selling it for 100? And it's counterfeit. So be careful buying shit on eBay, gold and silver, and the fact of they're real. When I go to my store, I know he's looked at it on his meter and counter. I can pull out a magnet. If the magnet doesn't stick, it's real. If your silver or gold sticks to the magnet, run and run fast. It's counterfeit or it's fake. That's the purest test because these metals will not stick to a magnet. That's kind of the best way to act. Anyway, I'm going to eat, and I got some more football to look at because I got to digest a lot of it. But anyway, have a good night. Pat, take care. Anybody else? Luke, Bobby, see you tomorrow. Well, actually, I got a deep rub massage at 4:00 tomorrow. That, it's just the way my feet are and everything else. It's just, it was brought up to try this. So I'm going to try it. I've had one before and it hurts so fucking much, but it's supposed to be very good for you. Who knows? But I'm going to do that at 4. So I might do the show early and then run to the pool and then go to the massage because the pool's on its way. Anyway, that's about it. Have a great night. www.teaserking.com. If you want a class on this, just email me or buy it where we go into better topics of why and everything. I'm doing that in football. Some guy wants to learn how did you pick the game? He's asking for how did you do that? So I'm kind of explaining to him. The normal class in football is just to go through the games and say, here's my picks, here's my locks, here's how I came up with them. That's what I'm intending to do for pro and college. But this is for economics. I can certainly do classes where we talk, explain inflation, explain, depression, explain recession, explain gold and gold-backed currency and count COMEX and brics and everything else. I can walk you into more depth in it. Anyway, have a great night. www.teaserking.com. I am out. All right, take care, everybody.